All right, welcome back everybody. So I just actually skimmed through this on which sections that we need to go over. So we definitely need to go over sales because we went over that in chapters 2 and chapter 3. I'm going to skip purchases because this is involving chapter 8, which is inventory. Payroll, which is going to be chapter 10 and 11. Those are pretty much what we're going to skip over. And then the rest we have covered before. So let's go ahead and dive right in and finish where we left off. So here is going to be the sales process. Okay. So first thing that we got to do is who should be listed under your customer center? This is a pretty straightforward question.
Customers.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone you sell your products or services to. Okay, pretty straightforward question. All right, how do you navigate and use the customer center? All right, so what are the 3 ways to get to the customer center?
Homepage,
Homepage,
menu bar,
icon. Okay, so again, what does the customer center actually deal with? So let's go ahead and use the navigation question. So yes, when you're on the home page, there's a little tab right here that says customers. You select that and you got your customers. Okay. Again, you have it on your icon bar. It's the little people icon for your customers. And then you can also access the customer center using your customers at the menu bar, customer center. So once we're here, this is what it looks like. So what is the customer center? What is the customer center?
List of all your customers.
Pretty much. And, okay, what can you do in the customer center?
You can check your customers. You can add new customer.
Mm-hmm.
You can check transactions.
Good. So transactions is very important and very key to this exact portion of this exact portion right here, yes.
Add invoices.
Yes. So transactions, this is all the transactions that you can do with all of your customers, right? And on here, it gives you a quick overview of the money that they owe you, so accounts receivable, a little overview of their information to contact them. But primarily, it's a list of every single transaction that you can have between a customer. So this is primarily your sales. So good. Okay. So the next question is how to complete the workflow from sales to making a deposit. So again, this is dealing with looking at the home page, right? Looking at the home page, right? The home page gives you a direct flow of how the sales process works, right? If you have a quote or you're going to give a quote, that's your estimates. You don't technically need this. It's only if you do have those potential clients that like to get quoted. But obviously, we're going to start with either creating an invoice or creating a sales receipt. Usually, that's our general rule of thumb is you either start when you make a sale of an item, whether you have a customer that purchases an item and they owe you money, so again, accounts receivable, or you have someone that collects that gives you money at time of purchase, which is creating your sales receipt. Once you do that, right, if you do an invoice, the next step is to receive payments. And the next step after that is going to be depositing your money in your undeposited funds. Okay? Pretty straightforward as far as that. Understanding how to utilize the workflow on there. So again, invoices, right, are um, created when a sale has been made, but customer chooses to pay later. Okay? And then in order to reduce your invoices or to reduce your accounts receivable, you need to receive payments. Okay? Receive payments. All right. Creating a sales receipt is going to obviously be a question. Oh, let me get rid of these. That's where I put them. When creating a sales receipt, this is recording a sale and customers pay at time of sale, right? And understanding when to utilize that, okay? So again, it's pretty straightforward. When you sell a product or service, whether they owe you the money or not, you choose to either do an invoice or a sales receipt. So that's a pretty straightforward question, okay? And again, we talked about how to deposit our funds, right? Once you get to the ending part, you need to make sure that you just determine which ones are going to be your checks and your cash, and then you have to separate your credit card transactions because those ones you're going to get charged interest, or you're going to get charged a percentage of your sales for utilizing a credit card service. Okay. And then it says, how does QuickBooks use the undeposited funds accounts receivable and checking accounts in invoicing cycle? Pretty straightforward. Obviously, when you receive money, right, the undeposited funds location is pretty much a place to hold your money until you actually transfer it into the bank. Now, it's going to be also assumption is when you receive a check, you can't assume that QuickBooks is going to do it for you. No, you actually have to physically go and deposit the money in the bank. And how is that related to accounts receivable? Same thing. When you receive a payment from a customer from your undeposited funds, you are reducing accounts receivable, right? Because you received a payment. And again, it's connected to your checking account because the minute you select and receive all the money and deposit it in your QuickBooks, it will automatically update your checking account. So that's pretty much the workflow in regards to utilizing the undeposited funds, accounts receivable, and the checking account. All right. Question, this one says, how and why to record a customer credit? Why do you record a customer credit? Okay, we learned about this in chapter 3. Chapter 3. Okay. Why do you use or have to record a customer credit? Yes, you're going to use it when you record a transaction or a return. Okay, so return. So I'm going to write page 72 because that's where it is. So if a customer returns a product, okay, they can cancel the sale. They can overpay you. That's another reason why you would record a customer credit. So if they overpay you, right? So then go on page 72 and it gives you a pretty much a couple ideas of what to record the customer credit for. Okay, you have this little bullet points here, and you also have this bullet points over here. Okay, so good. Next question is how and why to create statements. That's a good question. Why do you need to create statements?
The transaction with your corresponding customers or services that you have offered, statements for your own record as well. So you have something to balance both debit and credit on those companies or to the customers.
Okay.
For activities?
Activities, yes. It's to also inform your customers on how much they owe you and what they bought from you. Okay, so statements, how and why. Why is to try to put it in words, to send your customers activity a list of activity and account balances. Okay, and how to create statements. Pretty straightforward. You could create statements here. You could create statements in the customer center, right? You could create one by right clicking, and you can create a statement for them. Okay, you can charge them for statements. For if you have statement charges, you could charge them too. You can create statements. Okay, so pretty straightforward on the how. Okay. How to handle bounced checks. Okay. Remember, when we looked at this, there are two ways you can handle it. Whether it is a customer who sends you a bounce check or whether you wrote the bounce check. So, how do you handle if a customer writes you a bounce check?
You notify the customer and also there's a charge for that.
Yes. So you're going to record the bounce check. Okay. And you're going to charge them. Charge a fee for. Okay, good. All right. And when you do that, when you charge them, you're essentially sending them a new invoice, a new invoice with the charges. Okay. So again, if you guys remember, this was actually fairly recent. This is last week on Thursday, right? If for any reason that Mr. Bob Mason, right? Let's look at all of his transactions here. Okay, so he hasn't made a payment, so we gotta look for someone who has made a payment. So anyone that makes a payment, right, you have the option to, at the very top of the window, you have the record a bounce check option. When you do that, you guys are going to get a window of what the bank charged you for and what you can charge the customer for sending you a faulty check. So that is what you definitely can do. All right. And then the next question is, well, what happens if you write a bad check? So again, let me find that page because it gives you a list of what you need to do if you write the bad check. So let me find it. All right, collecting sales tax, so I went too far. Okay. This is chapter 3, right? Creating customer statements. Oh, that should be important to know to write off a bad debt. Okay, hold on, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Writing a, what was that? Oh, that's on chapter 5. Okay, I'm sorry. That was chapter 5 when we record a bounce check, right? This is dealing with the bank reconciliation. So, chapter 5 is where you're going to find that list of what you need to do when you have written a bad check. So handling bounce checks right here, page 152. Okay, so 152. So here's 152, handling bounce checks, okay? And then what happens when you write a bad check. So make sure you go over these little things that you need to do in case you do go over it. So right here, if you write a bad check, so page 155 is what you need to read up upon. So these are standard procedures, especially when you are dealing with this kind of thing, okay? Because it oftentimes when you're doing business, you may have to make that executive decision to write a faulty check for any reason and what you need to do. So page 155, okay? Now, the next one is purchases. So again, we'll talk about that in chapter 8. And no, there's a portion that deals with your vendors. But of course, it's better if we wait till the next time we do a review, which is going to be in 2 weeks from now. So we'll just deal with that. Okay? Reports. We talked about reports literally 2 days ago. Okay? On Monday. Okay? Why and how to use the report center. How do you use the report center? Okay. Here's the report center. Okay. Well, why do you need to make reports? Just answer that question. Why do you need to use the report center to create reports? What's the purpose of having a report?
To create a snapshot of how the business is going.
Exactly. So, depending on what your department you belong to, right? Whether you're a sales representative or inventory or even payroll, right? You have a position. So, the reason why you would use the reports is to pretty much, like you said, snapshot the activity and how your company is doing. So reports are Okay. And we'll talk about the different types of reports. So there are two different types of reports that exist in QuickBooks, and what are they?
Banking.
Not banking reports. Accounting reports.
Other items, business management.
Business management, good. Business management reports, good. Now, what's the difference between the two so you understand how to be able to do this? What is accounting reports?
I think it deals with the profit and loss.
Okay, profit and loss is an example of one, yes. So, profit and loss. Okay, also known as the income statement. Make sure you know the different terminologies for this too. Okay? So, accounting reports is a report using all the accounts. Just as generic as possible as you can to the answer, right? It's reports on account activity, as in anything that is involved with your chart of accounts. It's only going to use your accounts to create the report. So anything that has to do with specifics, for example, all the accounts that you have, right? My banking, my checking account, my sales account, my inventory item, my inventory asset accounts, right? Furniture, whatever it is, right? It's going to be a report on the accounts. Okay. So profit and loss is one of them. What else is another one?
And balance.
That trial balance. Yes, good. Okay. There's the balance sheet. Okay. And you also got the statement of cash flows, right? Those are the main financial statements that you need to complete to submit to the IRS for tax purposes, okay? As well as it also measures your self profitability, all right? We also learned about the trial balance, right? To make sure that at the end of each month that you're doing your accounting correctly and that there is no errors, all right? And what are business management reports?
Reports that help you manage your company.
Okay. How so?
The management reports are for informing managers about the different aspects of the business.
How so?
More in the management aspect in terms of decision making or what needs to be after after getting and receiving the report from the accountant. What steps is he doing? Should there be a loss?
Okay, so you're talking about profit and loss, and that is definitely an accounting report.
So it collects data
Date,
for the
okay.
company.
Data. Okay, well, what specific data?
Like your sales, for instance.
Sales, vendors, employees. So yes, business management is anything that has to do with your people in your company, right? You could do reports on all the customers that you have. So people. Okay, so now just write customers. So you could do reports on your customers. Customers. You can do customers. Customers. Vendors. And you could do reports on your vendors. You could do reports on your employees, like how often you paid them, what's the payroll status. You could do anything on items, right? Products that you sell. You can make reports on that.
Inventory?
Say that again.
Is it inventory?
You could do inventory, like keeping track of your inventory items. Yes, that's a good one. So anything that helps, that is not dealing with an account, basically, is going to be your business management. So looking at sales, maybe sales by an item, that would be a perfect business management report. Anything on, again, anything on your customers, right? How many people owe you money? Or list of your vendors. How many people do you owe money to? Those kind of management, and you can weigh out the options. Okay, so good. So again, it's a snapshot of how your company is doing. So how to customize your reports. Okay. By customizing your reports, what are the extensive, or what's to the extent that you can customize your reports? How can you customize your reports?
With company preferences.
Okay, no, you can't do that there.
Not a spreadsheet?
Wait, actually, company preferences, that's one of them. Yes, you're right. Sorry about that. Yes, you can. You can customize your reports using the company preferences. Yes, you can. So that's one way. Now, what my question here is not how, but actually, not where to customize the reports, but what can you do? Like, what changes can I make to my reports that can customize it to me or my company?
Under reports, custom reports.
Under reports, custom reports, but what can I do when I'm in my customizing reports? What changes can I make to my reports? All right.
Do you mean like you can see address there, customer phone numbers? Do you mean like that? I didn't
Yes.
understand the question.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Like, how can I, when I'm in my customizing reports, how am I customizing it? What changes am I making to my customer reports to make it look the way I want it to look? What can I do? So, here, if I go to customize reports, what are my options that I can do to change it?
Updating or just like you said, changes to the between the company and the customer.
Um, no. I'll go ahead and give you the answer to this one. So what I can do here is, this is my customer report. This is my, I'm going to customize this one, right? I'm going to modify this report. Let me actually, not this one. I'm going to do the contact list. Let's do the contact list, okay. Go away. So contact, so I'm going to go to list. Customer contacts, right? This is it. Phone number, contact list, okay? Okay, if I go ahead and click customize report, I can choose these options. I can choose what columns I want to see, right? If I want my contact list, right? If you guys remember this on Monday, if all this information, like I don't need their account balances if I'm going to create a contact list for me to send out promotional advertising, right? I only need certain pieces of information for a customer, right? Especially when you're mailing something out, right? You need to address them properly. right? You need to have their full name and their full address, city and location, right? That's the whole purpose of a mailing address. You can manipulate and change the columns that you see on here. So as you can see here, I have columns such as bill to. I have columns such as primary contact. I have a main phone number. In this case, I don't need a main phone number if I'm going to be mailing them stuff. So that's what I can do. I can unselect or uncheck what I want to appear on my actual report. So that's going to be under display. I can also choose what color I want to change my title to. I can change the font, the size. I can, just to make it look the way I want to look. So, for example, I want to change my company name, right? I want to change it, and I want to change the font. Let's say I want this one, or I want this one, okay? And I want to change it to red or maroon. I click OK and click OK, and here it shows here. And if I click OK, it changes it changes the way I want it to look. So that's what customizing reports does. It just changes the appearance of what you can do on a report, right? Customize it to how you want to see it, right? So changing columns, colors, / fonts, okay? Right? Okay? Okay? The basic question that each report answers, okay? So again, this is what I tell you all the time. The reports is based on whatever question that you are asking in regards to the company, right? What's my profitability? Then you know then you need to go to the profit and loss. How are my sales doing for my photo sessions? You're going to look up your sales by item. You're going to, how many employees do I have? Go to the employee contact list, okay? Or how many customers do I have? Go to the customer contact list, okay? So again, whatever question that you're looking for to answer for the company, you're going to create a report based on it. So it's going to be pretty much not a universal, but it's going to definitely be a specific question to the position that you are currently holding in the company. Okay, whether you're a sales representative, whether you're an inventory manager, or even the human resource. Okay, so it just depends on what the question is that you're looking for and what reports can help you answer them. Okay, how and why to send reports to Excel. All right, pretty straightforward. How do you convert a file into Excel or export it?
When you choose the report, you have the option there for Excel.
Good. All right. Why is it important? Maybe you want to make even more changes that QuickBooks can't do. Okay. Or maybe you want to send it to somebody. You can't send a QuickBooks file. That's dangerous. So you want to definitely send an Excel file that has maybe the limited information on what you want to send it out to. So maybe you want to send it to the advertising agent and say, I want you to print these advertisements and send it to these people. Okay. So yes, how and why to send it. Okay, perfect. You guys can answer that one on your own. Okay, next question is how and why to process multiple reports. Okay, again, that's something that you're supposed to read upon. Having multiple reports allows you to, be able to answer your questions a lot more quickly. Okay, so there could be a list of reports that you can just have it do every month, everything, so then that way it's answers your question, but also gets you to your answer quicker, right, and more in detail. Okay,
You're grouping them all together.
exactly. Okay, and how and why to memorize reports. What's the purpose of memorizing a report?
We have to name it, and because we have a lot different reports, just have easy way for find it.
Good, good. So good. So if we are creating a report, right, or customizing a report, we can always recreate it by memorizing the report. Another thing that you can do too is if you create it in a way that, let's say you do it every month, you can just go into memorized reports and pull up that information without making any extra changes that you need to do. So when creating and customizing, okay, the report, you can save it so that you can use it as a template or use it as, you know, to create another, to recreate another report, right? Okay. So now that we've went through that section, we have basic accounting. So again, this is 10% of the exam. So let's answer them. Okay. What are the basic financial statements and have a basic understanding of what they mean? So what are the basic financial statements? I talked about this. This is chapter 6.
Balance sheet.
Yes, balance sheet. What does the balance sheet answer? Or what is the reason why you create a balance sheet?
For the profit and
The
loss.
asset,
No, not for profit and loss.
the asset liability.
Yes, the accounting equation to make sure that your assets equals your liabilities plus equity. Okay. Your profit and loss is going to be a different one. So profit and loss, okay, also known as the income statement. What does that tell you?
You can see if the company got any income.
Net
The
income.
net worth.
Net worth is going to be your equity.
Equity,
Okay, so this one's for profitability to see if you made a profit or not. Okay, to see if your company is doing good or is it doing bad. Say profitability, and then in QuickBooks you learn that there's only 3 because one of them is combined with the balance sheet. Okay, so in QuickBooks, since we're looking at the QuickBooks, there's only 3 important financial statements. All right. My accounting people, what are the 4 financial statements?
Is filed away.
Statement of account.
Profit and loss, trial balance, balance sheet, and statement of cash flow.
Okay, trial balance is not one of them. But yes, statement of cash flows is definitely one of them. Okay. And what's the purpose of creating your statement of cash flows? All All right, it's pretty straightforward. How much cash is actually flowing into your company and how much cash is flowing out of your company. So this is taking an accrual basis and converting it to cash basis. So, yes. So cash flowing in and cash flowing out. All right. All right. What are the difference between cash and accrual basis or accrual reports?
Cash is when it's received.
Yes. Transactions. So income and expenses
And then
when
accrual is based on when the services have been, rendered.
good. Okay. Accrual is okay, so income and expenses are recorded at time of sale slash completion of service, okay, regardless of payment. Okay, good. Okay. How and why to set a closing date. So this is going to be a chapter 13 question. All right, so we'll talk about what the closing date is and why it's important in chapter 13. Right? How and to enter a journal entry if asked to do so by an accountant. Again, we only barely looked at this very shortly, but this is a chapter 13 question. All right, and we'll talk about that again when we get there. Okay. Okay, last section here is going to be customization, okay? Saving time and blah 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 blah, okay? So, how and why to memorizing transactions, okay? Hold on. I think this is also a chapter 13 because we talk about memorizing reports and transactions. So that is going to be this is going to be a chapter 13 question. Okay, how to set up multiple users and what level of access do they do? So again, this was definitely chapter 12. How do you set up a company? How do you set up multiple users? We just actually talked about this.
Yeah, when we set up company, we have option for the add multiple users if we have multiple users.
Yes. Okay, good. So if you have multiple users, right, you go to the company menu bar. Okay. And you're going to click that set up users and passwords. Okay. So again, if you do have people that you want to limit access to for QuickBooks. So again, if you have, you're the accountant, right? You have a sales representative, you have an HR person, and you have an inventory manager. You can set them up and you can block off which access and what levels of access they can have for each section in QuickBooks. So for those who've been in that position before, we're looking at it as an accountant, as the admin. So we get to see every single transaction that exists. But as a user who has limited access, let's say your only main focus is just sales, you're only going to have access to just the accounts receivable, your customer center, and the invoices and the sales receipt. You're only going to be limited to that. Your inventory at the top and your payroll people, your employees, they're not going to exist. They're going to be gone, not even on the QuickBooks homepage. Okay? So, good. How and why to create custom fields. Okay? What's the purpose of having custom fields?
get some information about customer,
Customers?
the vendors.
Okay, yes. It's any additional information about your people. Okay, so customers, vendors, employees, right? They're just extra information that you may find pertinent to build a relationship, to have a conversation starter, etc., etc. Okay, the more information that you have, whether it's your employees, the stronger the relationship will be. Okay. Um, Yes, and you can create custom fields for items, okay? But you can only have a maximum, okay? So for items, so such as your chart of accounts, you can break down each account type by sub-accounts. So for example, my assets, right? If I go to my chart of accounts, I have sub-accounts or we don't actually know. Sub accounts is different in here. We use the terminology sub accounts as completely different than what they really are. So this is so each item, so my account type can be broken down to another level. So in this case, in my assets, I have a banking section. I have my current assets. I have an accounts receivable. And I also have my fixed assets. So this one, I can break it down to even further into 5 categories, okay? So in this case, when we learn what sub-accounts are, it's different terminology in QuickBooks. Sub-accounts here, right? If you have the main account, which is right here. So for that example, when we had that expense, that telephone expense or this payroll, this is the main account. It could be broken down into these, which are sub-accounts, okay? These, in the book, you call these sub-items. Or in QuickBooks, it's called sub-items. Expanding on another account. Your sub-accounts are going to be what category they belong into in regards setting up your account type. So in QuickBooks, you can understand it as a subtype, if you'd like, if it's easier for you to understand, so you don't get confused between what you learn in accounting and what you learn in QuickBooks, okay? So here, sub-accounts, sub-items, they're going to be function a little different. So again, you can create up to 5 per account type. Okay, so for expenses, you can have fixed expenses, fixed operating. Yes, we do have fixed expenses such as rent. Rent is going to be a fixed expense. So yes, you can break them down even further, and that is going to be your items. So you can only have up to 5 custom fields here, right? How many total custom fields can you have for people?
7.
7 per person. Okay? In grand total, how many can you have?
15.
You can have a total of 15. Okay? So again, every one of the total custom fields, you can apply it to a customer, vendor, and employee. And we've looked over that in chapter 7. Yes, when we create custom fields. Okay. Last but not least is going to be how to customize an invoice. Okay. So again, how do you customize an invoice? Yeah, let's talk about the how. So how is navigation wise? How do you customize an invoice? Do not confuse reports. Reports is a completely separate thing. It's not an invoice. All right? So how do you customize an invoice? Okay, so if I were to create an invoice and I print it out, it's going to look very, very standard. How do I customize that to my company? And you should, especially for your company. Right? You can change it by adding your company logo. You can change the color scheme so it fits your company, right? Right? If my company is maroon, black, and white, I'd like to have my statements or my invoices reflect the colors of my company. How do I do that?
Go to create invoices.
Okay. If I go to create invoices, all right, can I customize my invoice at all?
Doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look like it. However, you have what kind of template do you want to use? So this one is a standard Intuit, what does it say? Standard Intuit invoice. Okay. Look, I have an Academy Photography service invoice. How in the world did I create that? All right.
Go
Okay.
into company.
Company. All right. Okay, so this is going to be a chapter 7 thing, so please read this upon this because it is very important that you know how to customize your invoices, sales, receipts, whatever, because it's definitely you want to make your customers feel like they belong or are a part of your company. You don't want to do a standard, basic, black and white, piece of paper. You want to make it customizable to your own company. So it feels like you're a legitimate company, but also it makes you set yourself apart from any other company. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell you this one because it's 11:30. So you're going to go to list and you're going to actually go to templates. When you go to templates here, you can customize any type of invoice, right? You can do any type of credit memo, sales receipts, invoices, estimates, okay? Your sales credit, sales order, purchase order, right? You can customize it to how you want to reflect in your company, right? Making an invoice that's customizable with your company logo makes you stand out to someone who just prints a random invoice with a standard Intuit package. Okay, so again, if you if you click on it, it gives you an overview of what it looks like. Okay, so in this one, it's pretty boring, but that's that for you. Okay, and you can customize it with your personal logo again. Your personal logo. You can change the font color. You can change the font if you use a specific font for your company logo. Color schemes. You want to make it custom and personal to you. Okay, so that's how you do it. And there's only one location: list, template, and edit or create or duplicate one. Okay. So, general rule of thumb is you should definitely work off of something that's already existing because you never want to make that mistake of not including a column And when you send out or print out your copy of your statement and you're missing a whole column that's pretty important to your company, yes. So you definitely want to use a standardized one that's already created and just create it off of that one. Okay. So with that being said, the only one that you can't customize is going to be the check, because yes, checks are very important and you definitely don't want to miss information on there. So again, how to is going to be list on the menu bar. Templates. Okay. So that is it that we're covering for today. Make sure you go through every single navigation question. So if I asked you how to enter in an invoice, okay, please be able to navigate using all the different ways to create an invoice. Okay. Also, so each icon or each transaction that you do, so make sure that you know how to do that. So again, if the test asks you to create an invoice, you can create on the home page. Okay. You can create it by going to the customer menu bar, right? You can create it by going to the customer center, right? New transactions. Okay, new transactions. Enter in a invoice or create an invoice or invoices. You can right click on a person to create invoices. You can do manage transactions, invoices. You can even go to the income tracker, okay, and create invoices, okay? Make sure you do that. This part of the question is just trying to get through the basic question. When we go over this again to answer the rest of the questions, make sure that you have these questions answered for navigation portion, okay? All right, that is it for today. So again, it is now 11:30, so I'm going to go ahead and go over the rules and guidelines on how to take the exam. Now, for my former students, I'll just do a quick overview. So my former students, you guys know how it goes. The test is already available on Orbund. Okay, if you checked your Orbund account, it's up and ready, available, and you guys have all the way until Sunday to take the exam. Okay, for those who have taken the Excel with Miss Lavelle, my exam is a little different. It's not timed, and you have, I think I gave you guys 2 attempts for it. So after if you've completed the first time, you may reattempt it again, and it's going that you're going to be asked the same exact questions. So that means if you don't know the question, you can write it down, look it up in your book, and answer it again the second time. Now, of course, my exam is not purely, I'm going to rephrase that again. Majority of it is going to be doing, the questions that I'm going to be asking are going to be geared towards the reading, okay? So read it very thoroughly, okay? Again, the test is from chapters 1 through 7 and chapter 12. Okay, so this exam is 50 questions, multiple choice. Okay, so no free response. So out of the answers that you have given to you, one of them is correct. Okay, make sure you know that. Okay, this is open book. If you ask me a question on a question, I'm going to tell you, read your book. If you're asking a specific question saying, I need help on question number 14, I'm going to tell you, look at your book. Okay? And I might If you ask me though, I might steer you towards which chapter, but that's the most I can do. Everything is from the book, okay? Okay, some wording may be similar, some wording may be on point. So, I'm not testing you on like preciseness. I'm just testing on your, navigating yourself, okay? So please do the reading, okay? And yes, so when you go on Orbund for Miss Lavelle's class, I believe you guys took like quizzes, like 10 short questions. This one, you want to be careful to not idle on a page for too long because Orbund will kick you out if you stay on one question for too long. So make sure you keep either not refreshing the page, but keep either press next or the back button for the exam. Again, you are not mandated to take it right now, or I mean like on Thursday. I give you the option to take it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Do not wait last minute. I give you 2 attempts. So my suggestion and my high recommendation is if you are scared of what the test is going to be like, take it the first time, look at all the questions, and then take it again the second time. All right? So you know what questions I'm going to be asking and use your book to answer them. All right? Again, 2 attempts, and the test starts 8 a.m. tomorrow. So if you want to get it out of the way, it starts at 8 a.m. Tomorrow, and it closes out Sunday at midnight. Okay? Other things that I want you to do is for my new students who who do the exam tomorrow, there is no class. You can take the exam whenever you want. Doesn't have to be at 8 o'clock. It could be 12 o'clock. It could be at 12 midnight on Friday. I don't care, as long as you take it. Okay? You can, once you activate your attempt, you cannot go back and do it again. If you close out for any reason, exit out accidentally, or you idled for too long and it kicks you out, you have to redo your second attempt and you're going to start all over from question number 1. So you can't, once you use your attempt, you cannot go back and do it again. All right? You would have to start from the beginning. If for any reason you're having internet issues and you are on your second attempt and it just locks you out because your internet drops, let me know. I will open up another attempt for you. Okay? But you need to let me know, not at Sunday at 10 o'clock. Okay?
Did you want us to clock in
Yes, I'm going to talk about that right now. So, since there is no class on Thursday tomorrow, what I need you guys to do is, it doesn't have to be at 8 o'clock. It could be whenever, as long as you clock in on the Google Classroom, right? You say hello. Then, yes, I need you guys to do that on Thursday.
So we cannot stay on the question too long.
Say that again?
We cannot stay on the question too long.
No, you can't. No. If you don't know the answer, write down the question and click next. The great thing about it too is you're able to go back and answer it again if you want to. There's no time limit, so you can, yes, you can skip it and come back to it. There's no time limit, so you can spend 6 hours on Orbund if you'd like. Okay?
So every time we don't know the answer, we skip it.
You can skip it, but just know that you can always go back to it. But however, if you accidentally close up the page, you're done with your attempt. You have to go back and do it again. Okay, so yes. So again, Thursday, chime into the class, write a message on there so I can clock you in for Thursday's class. Okay, anytime, doesn't matter what time, as long as you do it, okay? And then, no class.
Just say good morning, that's it.
All right. good luck. I will post the Orbund link to the exam so you go to the correct one on the website. So I'll do it right after class. So yeah, good luck. Again, use your book, 50 questions, chapters 1 through 7 and 12, 2 attempts, unlimited time, and yeah, it's done on Sunday. Monday we will review it. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, have a good rest of you guys' days.
As well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Mm-hmm.
Lynn.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Excuse me, Lynn? I
Yes.
do have a question.
Mhm.
Am I able to take it, the test tomorrow?
No, because you've already taken it.
Oh, okay.
So you don't need to.
Oh, okay, all right, fine, I wasn't sure if I had to do it.
No, you're auditing the class. You're completely done with the class. So
Okay.
you don't need to do anything in regard to this. You're just coming into the class to just review what there
Right.
is need to be reviewed for. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, fine.
Okay.
Okay, have a good week. or
You
weekend.
too. You too. I'll see you
Today.
Monday.
Okay, all right, bye-bye.